The Uncharted movie has been in works for 10 years, but today it seems closer and more real than ever before. It already has a completed script, we know who'll play Nathan, as well as who will be the director. So why is it taking so long? What will the plot be, and when will it hit cinemas? Sit back, relax, and enjoy the GameGround everything you should know about Nathan Drake's big screen debut. Before we talk about the current state of the movie, let's quickly take a look at what brought us there. The history of this film is pretty insane, so get ready. It all began only a year after the first Uncharted game came out. In 2008, ARAD, the producer of Spider-Man 2 and 3 and Iron Man, announced that he was working on the Uncharted movie with Sony and that the script would be taken care of by Kyle Ward, the screenwriter of Hitman Agent 47 and Machete Kills. The following year, Ward stepped aside from the project though, and was replaced by Thomas Dean Donnelly and Joshua Oppenheimer, writers of Sahara, a not so well received treasure hunter movie starring Matthew McConaughey. In 2010, the word got out that David O. Russell, known for instance for Three Kings or Silver Linings Playbook, will actually direct the film, and Avi Arad will be the producer. Also in 2010, Nathan Fillion, best known for his roles in TV shows like Firefly and Castle, tweeted he was interested in playing Drake, and even started a Twitter petition. A few months later, David O. Russell, who was both the director and the screenwriter at the time, was asked about Nathan Fillion's actions in an interview, and O. Russell said he had never even heard of the man. An actor O. Russell was very familiar with, however, was Mark Wahlberg. In November 2010, it was revealed that Wahlberg would play the lead role in Uncharted. He wanted the movie to be grounded and have as little green screen as possible. He also said some rather weird things, like that the story would be focused on a family, that Robert De Niro would play Drake's father, and that Joe Pesci would be his uncle. That did not seem right, not only to Uncharted fans, but neither to the screenwriter O. Russell, who denied Wahlberg's statements a month later. As I said, the history of this movie is insane, and that makes the editing of this video really damn difficult. But let's just keep going. In 2011, O. Russell dropped out of the project and was replaced by Neil Burger, writer of The Illusionist, which is by the way quite an underrated movie and you should totally watch it. Burger was working on Uncharted until 2012 when BRYAN and Cormac Wibberley, a husband and wife screenwriting team responsible for Bad Boys 2 and National Treasure, were called to rewrite the script. In 2013, Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg revealed they were approached by Sony several times to write the movie as well. They both refused though, since they didn't want to write, quote, just another Indiana Jones film. The following year, another Seth, this time Seth Gordon, known for producing masterpieces such as Horrible Bosses and Pixels, yeah, Pixels, you heard that right, was asked to direct the film. He did take the offer, and surprisingly, Seth Gordon did not leave the project the next year. Just kidding, he dropped out of it the following year, and in 2016 Shawn Levy, known for directing a few episodes of Stranger Things as well as Night at the Museum and the Pink Panther movies, took over. The writers, BRYAN and Cormac Wibberley, stepped aside as well, and they were replaced by Mark Boal, the author of the Call of Duty Advanced Warfare campaign. Boal didn't stick around for too long, and soon Joe Carnahan, celebrated for The Grey, The A-Team or the NBC series The Blacklist, took over. At this point, we're in 2016. Joe Carnahan is the writer and Shawn Levy is the director. Fast forward to 2018, and believe it or not, neither of them have left. Carnahan even managed to finish the script last year, and according to Naughty Dog's Neil Druckmann, Shawn Levy is very passionate about working on the film and he's taken it in the right direction. Thus, as I've mentioned at the beginning, the Uncharted movie now seems closer and more likely to actually happen than ever before. Additionally, in the summer of 2017, we learned that the star of Spider-Man Homecoming, Tom Holland, will play young Nathan, and that the film will be a prequel to all of the games. We'll talk a lot more about this in just a little bit. One of the most recent pieces of news we got about the movie comes from the fall of 2017, when it was reported that Bryan Cranston, Breaking Bad's Heisenberg / Walter White, was being recruited by Sony Pictures for a key supporting role. He'd presumably play Sully, however up until now, this report hasn't been confirmed nor denied by anybody. Now that we've covered its history, let's dig deeper into the plot of the movie and examine some of the statements made by people involved with it. As for the plot, we know it will be a prequel story, featuring a young Nathan Drake, inspired by the flashback sequence in Uncharted 3. In that part of Drake's deception, we witnessed a 14-year-old Nate meeting Sully for the first time. This wasn't the only appearance of younger Nate in the games, as there were 2 flashbacks in Uncharted 4 as well. In this orphanage sequence, he was 11 years old, and in this Panama prison scene, he was 22. The first game took place 8 years after this scene, thus Nate was 30 in Drake's Fortune. And the PlayStation Vita exclusive Uncharted Golden Abyss took place 1 year prior to the original. As you can see, between the prison sequence in A Thief's End and Golden Abyss, there's a 7-year gap in which no games have been set. This is most likely the time period the movie will take place in. Tom Holland, who will seemingly be the star of the movie, is currently 21 years old, which just confirms that Nathan will be in his 20s in the film, and the story will be indeed set sometime within the mentioned time frame. Speaking of Tom Holland, why him? Why is it him who was chosen to play Nathan? Well, the story goes that the CEO of Sony Pictures, Tom Rothman, made the decision himself. Originally, the Uncharted movie was supposed to be a retelling of the first game's story, sort of a reboot of Drake's Fortune. However, in 2016, Rothman decided to change the direction of the film by making it a prequel. At that time, Spider-Man Homecoming was in the last stages of production, and after seeing Holland's performance in a final cut of that film, Rothman chose to cast the actor in Uncharted as well.
The idea is to sort of do an origin story of Nathan Drake rather than pick up the story later in his life. So we thinking about seeing his first adventure rather than his 20th adventure, you know. But yeah, it's an exciting idea, and I think something that could be really, really interesting.
When this information about Holland being the star was publicly announced, the reactions from fans were mixed, to say the least. That's understandable, as we all had expected someone more mature to get the role. Nonetheless, Tom Holland is generally considered to be a great actor. One of the things that are unique about him is that thanks to his background in theater and dance, he's capable of parkour-style action hero stunts like these. Interestingly, it turns out that Holland's role of young Nate in Uncharted will be very similar to his portrayal of Peter Parker in Homecoming. In both films, a young, talented and heroic rule breaker, treasure hunter in one story and superhero in the other, falls into the path of a sarcastic mentor who guides him on his journey. This is of course Tony Stark in Spider-Man and Sully in Uncharted.
Look, you got talent, but you got a lot to learn. You stick with me and I'll teach you a few things.
Thanks, but I'm doing just fine on my own.
Yeah, clearly.
Even though Nate will be fairly young in the film, director SHAWN Levy wants the character to be just as witty as we remember him from the games. What's more, Levy also aims to include epic action set pieces in the movie. In an interview, he said, quote, "The action scenes in the game blow my mind. And if I don't give that experience to audiences with the movie, I didn't do my job. And I intend to do my job." Unquote. Another goal of the director is to deliver an Indiana Jones story for a generation that did not grow up on Indiana Jones. He wants to introduce younger audiences to the world of adventure archaeology. Levy also thinks it's been a long time since we had a great, contemporary treasure hunter movie, and he wants Uncharted to fill that void. But when will it fill the void? When will it come out? Well, in spite of the fact that the screenplay has been finished for over a year, don't expect to see Uncharted posters in your cinema anytime soon. The shooting hasn't started yet, and we don't know when it will. We certainly won't see the movie anytime before 2020, and even that seems early to me. By the time it comes out, it's more than possible that a new Uncharted game will already have been announced. The game may even end up being a movie tie-in, or vice versa, but that's just me theorizing. Still, if you'd like to see a more in-depth look at the future of the Uncharted game series, be sure to check out this video. I'll leave the link down in the description. With regard to the games, Is Naughty Dog involved with the creation of the movie? I feel like people mostly think the answer is no. However, that's not really the case. The studio is helping out Sony Pictures to some extent so as to make sure the movie stays true to Naughty Dog's vision of the franchise. Besides, the screenwriter Joe Carnahan cooperated with the game developers when writing the script. In the summer of 2016, he tweeted, quote, "I want to get with Naughty Dog and make sure we line up things creatively on Uncharted. Hugely important to me. Gotta make creators happy." Unquote. And it seems he did manage to make them happy, because later he revealed that he had met with Amy Hennig, the former head writer for the Uncharted series, as well as Neil Druckmann, and according to Carnahan, they loved the story. By the way, it's worth mentioning that Uncharted is not the only PlayStation franchise Sony plans to bring to the big screen. Among others, an adaptation of The Last of Us is scheduled to come out sometime after Uncharted.
Take the wheel for a second. All this running around, surviving by the skin of our teeth. I think we've actually taken a moment to step back and appreciate just how far we've come. Huh? Sic parvis magna.
Sic parvis magna.
Yeah.
After being in development for more than a decade, the Uncharted movie is now closer to reality than ever before, but don't expect it anytime prior to 2020. It will be a tale of 20-something-year young Nathan Drake and his mocking mentor Victor Sullivan. The script, which is already completed, was created by the writer of The Grey, The A-Team and The Blacklist, and the movie will be directed by SHAWN LEVY, who is known thanks to Stranger Things, The Pink Panther or Night at the Museum. Both of these guys are obviously pretty excited about the film, but are you? What are your thoughts on it? Share them in a comment, make sure to subscribe and tap on the bell icon so that you won't miss more videos like this in the future. Until then, this has been GameGround. See you around.